My next guest will face Romero Cotton on December the 10th at Bellator 254. And of course, is Justin Sumter back on the show. Justin, how are you, sir?
Doing pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to have you back on because it's been far too long since we've spoken last. It's been well over a year, I believe. What has this unprecedented 2020 been like for you? I know it's been a little crazy for me. What has it been like for the Sumter household?
It's not too crazy. Like at the beginning of the year, it was kind of shaky because back in February, I got a new job, a new I have a full time job as well as fight, and so it was learning the job, and then I had my fight coming up in March, and we were going to sell our house, and so things kind of worked out for the benefit of me. Like so, the week of the fight, we put our house on the market. It sold that week. The house that we were looking at, no one looked at because COVID, and we were able to get it for a really good price. So other than the fact that I didn't get the fight, family life was pretty good. My new job was getting paid more and kind of doing less work than I was doing before, and so everything kind of worked out.
That's always a good thing if you're getting paid more and not doing as much. What is the new job? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so I'm a project manager for an elevator company based out in Sweden. So basically, we get requests for quotes for facilities like nuclear facilities, grain facilities, and we put our elevators up for them.
Wow. And, I got to be honest, man, elevators scare me a little bit. That once I was on an elevator at the hospital in my hometown and it stopped and I was stuck for like 2 minutes. And I was like, oh my God, like this is how it's going to end. It's going to free fall and I'm just going to get crushed. Do you ever think that when because I'm sure you have to go in them, right?
Well, yeah. Well, like the funny thing is like I haven't been to a site just because of COVID. So like the new job, they had the expectation that I would go to different sites throughout the year, for the different projects. And, I haven't just because of the regulations, like I don't have to go. So, just stay put.
Wow. Okay. Well, my job actually, I've been working from home too, so not a bad thing. So there's pluses and minuses when you look at this whole COVID-19 year, if you want to say that, anyways. But Thanksgiving was just last week. Did you
Yeah.
have the ability to dive in and cheat a little bit, or did you have to be a good boy and make sure that you make weight here?
I didn't, just because of my training regimen, I was able to, I had like 1.5 plates instead of 4 plates. So I was still able to eat some. And the funny thing is, the week before that, the 16th was my birthday. So I wasn't really able to hang loose or hang out with the guys, have a couple of drinks. But my training regimen is kind of high, the highest it has been. So I was able to kind of enjoy more than I would have if I was just training regularly.
For sure. And I actually will dive into that here soon, but I see you've been down there at Glover's new place, which is really interesting. I do want to touch base on that Contender series setback to Maki Pitolo. I haven't talked to you since then. What's the takeaway from that one, man?
Just you know, uh, I think a lot. I had a lot going on doing that because so after my fight with Renato Felix, I broke my hand, and then I had my baby. And I just chalk it up to a lot of things on my head. When I stepped in the cage, a little bit too much because all the time when you're fighting, things can happen, things pop up in your head. But I just was I lacked a little bit focus that I needed, and the outcome kind of speaks to itself. But just staying motivated and focused, I think that was the key, especially in this camp. And up to the fight, what the proposed fight back in March, I felt that way, and now it's just a little bit more concreting that mindset, over the past 6 months, and I think it would definitely show in the fight.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was your second setback at Contender Series. Was there a mental hurdle that you had to get through after that? I got to imagine, obviously, every time you lose it, it's very difficult. But on that stage, was that something that was harder for you?
Yeah, the mindset and the way I think about it is, everything happens for a reason. Like I would want to definitely come out there with a victory, be on the UFC roster and whatnot. But I kind of have the mindset that, everything happens for a reason, and if it was meant to be, it would be, or if it's meant to be, it will happen. My goals are just to be the best as I can be, and then be the best in the world. So, I just keep making those steps, and sooner or later it's going to lead to where I need to be, not where I want to be, kind of.
For sure. Has there been any talk about maybe potentially a third crack at Contender Series? I mean, both guys that you lost to are in the UFC, and they've done pretty darn good. So, I mean, you know what I mean? You look at it that way. Is that an avenue that you could take, or are you just kind of not even thinking about that right now?
You know what I mean? It pops up in my head, you know what I mean? Because I see these guys that, hey, one specifically, Jamie Pickett, you know what I mean? He was on that for three times, and, third time's the charm. He comes out and shines. So, it's in the back of my head that, hey, I know my abilities, I know what I can do, and if I get back there, I can do something awesome. But it's not like a main focus of mine. It's not like, hey, I got to get there, I got to get back there, I got to get back there. So, just talking with my manager Tyson, hey, I just got to keep putting the work in, and then the work shows in my performance, and then my performance show where I should be. And so that's all I can do.
Absolutely. And clearly you're focused right now on your opponent at Bellator 254. But when you look towards your future, like, has the goal changed at all? Or do you still believe it's just a matter of time before you are in the UFC? I mean, that's what you're hoping happens here in the near future, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and like not shooting down Bellator at all, like just whatever my progress is, and the steps that I take, they're going to be in front of me when I take them. So, if that opportunity comes, I beat this guy real quick, they get a short notice fight, someone has COVID, and UFC needs a fighter, I'll step in. Likewise with Bellator World Series of Fighting, it really doesn't matter to me. Only thing that matters for me is me putting in that 100% effort that I know I can. If I do that, the sky's the limit, and my wife gets mad at me when I say it, but I basically can do anything. Like if I set my mind to it, I basically do anything. So that's the way I kind of look at it.
Absolutely. That's the way you should feel. That's the way all of us should feel. What do you think of what Bellator is doing? I mean, now they have this deal with CBS Sports Network. Obviously, I hate saying it. I even asked Scott Coker this when I was down at the Mohegan Sun recently. But, the UFC is the alpha dog, right? They're clearly the first banana. But Bellator's doing some really great things. I love the tournaments that they're doing. And, this contract that they put together with CBS Sports Network, I think, is really exciting. What do you feel like when you look at these other promotions like a Bellator as far as closing that gap with the UFC?
Yeah, I think it's, the moves in the right direction, man. Like, it's you need to have an avenue for guys that they still want to excel, and because I kind of see it like the young guys in the gym when they're training, like, man, hey, I want to be in the UFC. I want to be in the UFC. Like, what happens when they get to a Contender Series fight or whatnot and they lose? You know what I mean? So that mentality kind of is shattering. It kind of puts a halt to their progress, a halt to their mind. And if they're not mentally strong, then that kind of snaps. And so with Bellator and ONE FC and the coming back of XFC, just having those avenues for guys to excel on the main stage, because it's still a main stage, man. Millions of people watch CBS Sports. Millions of people watch ONE FC. So just giving that avenue and giving guys different avenues to excel is pretty good for the sport, like in general.
Yeah, absolutely. MMA has been the fastest growing sport in the world for a long time now, and I just think it just keeps snowballing. It's just getting better and better, man. Let's talk about this camp, man. How's it been? What have things been like at FAA?
Things have been, slightly strange, with COVID and all, especially like the first, like after, the fight, the proposed fight in March, everything just shut down, and, there really wasn't training. I didn't really train that much just because of, I was kind of, fixing the house up, moving and stuff like that. But, as it opened up, it kind of got better. But the only problem was people didn't want to cross train just because of, exposure and stuff like that. So, I had to kind of change up what I was doing to kind of maximize this, the effect that COVID is having on my workout. So, I updated my conditioning to where I'm working with this awesome guy named Jason Layden for Conquer Athletes. And basically they work in the CrossFit world, but some of the you can kind of transfer some of that work, cardio work, into MMA. And so he's been working and dialing in my cardio. So, I feel like I'm in the best shape as I ever been. Working with my strength and conditioning coach, Ramos Athletic Conditioning Center, and just at FAA. Having a gym our size, we have some decent sized guys, but wasn't able to train with that many different people. But having the different guys come in and out, give me different looks after every round is definitely improved my game.
Who have been those main guys this camp?
Eddie George, I got Joe Mikulinski, Cullen Johnson, just to name a few guys that are in my gym. Trained with Parker Porter a couple of times, and William Knight. So I was able to get some good looks from those guys, and trained over with Kyle at Glover's a little bit over there. So kind of going. I wanted to go to Boston a couple of times. Wanted to do all that stuff this year, but due to COVID, can't really do that.
For sure. Now, are you getting to get that sparring in that you normally would because of COVID? Like, has that been affected? And if so, how is that an issue as far as preparing for a fight?
Well, I'm still getting my rounds in, but they're a little bit different. Just being like, I'm probably one of the largest guys at my gym, just as far as weight wise. So getting the 170s and a couple of the good wrestlers we have, just put me in situational stuff. So start standing. We'll do a couple minutes sparring, and then you'll get a really good wrestler take my back, take me down, and I got to fight up. So constantly switching up the attacks and the defenses in the rounds, keeping my heart rate up. Definitely see a benefit in just the transition. Because if you get a fresh guy coming on you every minute and a half, you're definitely going to get tired. You definitely have to be on your P's and Q's. And so, I feel definitely more than ready for this fight, even though considering the restrictions we've had.
Right. So it's kind of like you're still getting that Shark Tank action.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go. That's great. Now, I did see you gave a shout out to Glover and his guys. I think it's really exciting that a fighter of his caliber is here in the New England area, setting up shop, has got a gym. What has that been like? Just tell me what it's been like to be there, to kind of train, learn from him, and what it's like there.
It's just crazy because you look and years, like he's been in the fight game for years, and just to pick his knowledge and his thoughts about how he approaches the game and how he just kind of revamped his career in the last 2 years. Like he was going on a certain path, and it looked like he probably would have stagnated and retired, but then he just excelled. And just to be around somebody with that caliber and that knowledge, and just to absorb what he has is a phenomenal. I can't even quantify the amount of value going there has meant to me.
For sure. Do you think he can win the strap? I mean, he's 41 years old. No matter who he faces, it's going to be a stud. Do you think he can get it done?
Yeah. I mean, I when Jan won the title, I was like, hey man, this is a excellent fight for Glover. Excellent fight, because I think they kind of have a similar style, but I think Glover's toughness. But I can't shoot down Jan just because he's Polish. My wife's Polish, so they have the Polish strength. So can't really down him, but it's definitely a good fight for Glover.
Absolutely. Let's talk about this fight. It's going to be at Mohegan Sun. I really like what Bellator has done there in the bubble, and just the way that they're setting up fights. It's really seems seamless, and I just love the energy there. Even though there's no fans, they've done a good job with it. What do you feel like this fight is going to be like as far as like the energy that you're going to get with no fans? You know, I mean, because it's going to be very different.
Yeah, yeah, definitely going to be very different. But I fought in the Contender series, and you know, more or less, it might be the same. I know they have the media there. It might be a little bit less, a little the same, but that quietness where you can just hear literally everything, whatever your coach says. I don't think it's will be a shell shock to me. I think I'll be prepared because we the way we've been training is like, hey, there's gonna be no music, there's gonna be no noise, so we turn off everything in the gym and then we just go to town. So I feel like I'm prepared, well capable of just adapting to the differences and excelling.
You got to be taking off any day now. What do you leave like tomorrow or the next day?
I leave Saturday. So I
Saturday.
get one more conditioning session in, and then leave probably around, because I'm only like maybe 45 minutes away from Mohegan, so it's not really too bad for me. So I'll probably leave at like 3 o'clock and get there like at 5 or 4. So
Who's going to be in your corner come fight night?
My training partner, Cully, Nick, and one of my jiu-jitsu coaches, Roger.
All right, and when you look at this matchup, I mean, as you said earlier on in the interview, this guy he's an up and comer. He's 4-0. Bellator seems to be pushing him, so this is an interesting matchup. What do you feel like when you look at him as far as where you're going to be able to hold the big advantages in this fight?
Definitely the biggest advantage I would see is the striking. Like his style, he's a pressure wrestler. He pressures you and then he tries to take you down. I think that kind of just plays more into my game. Just because looking at him on the ground, he's not really that smooth. Doesn't really come up with just dominance. So I feel like I have the better stand up. I have the better jiu-jitsu. So all I have to do is just if he doesn't touch me, it's great. But if he takes me down, it's even better, because I feel I'm really capable of basically doing anything on the ground with him. So
how do you see yourself getting your hand raised?
I definitely see it by knockout, definitely. But I don't want to jinx myself and say knockout and then I get the submission. But I think I can submit him as well.
So either way, you're just gonna be finishing this guy. Do you
Yeah.
see it out of the first round?
I see it ending in the second round.
Second round. Okay, fair enough. Well, I know you got a lot of people that are excited to see you step back in the cage and notch a win here. So, Justin, I really appreciate the time, as always, my friend. Before I let you go, any social media you want to plug or anyone you want to thank, the floor is yours.
Definitely want to, everyone should check me out on Fort Sumter MMA on Instagram and Twitter, and Justin the Fort Sumter on Facebook. Would like to thank my sponsors, Top Game Management, definitely my strength and conditioning, Ramos Athletic Conditioning Center, and Conquer Athlete, and just all the fans and people that have been supporting me, showing me love, especially during this quarantine. It's pretty hard on a lot of people, but everyone's sticking there, and then it'll soon be over. So